You ever have one of those moments where you're holding your whole damn future in your hand like the next call, the next 5 minutes, could make or break the last 20 years of your life? That was me, sitting in a rental car outside Elite Airways headquarters, staring at a business card with the owner's name on it. My hands actually shaking because a single flight attendant's lies just wiped out everything I'd worked for. Yeah, that happened. And the crazy part? My phone's buzzing, and it's the owner himself on the other end. 5 minutes from now, either I'm a captain again, or I'm just another cautionary tale about how a black man could do everything right and still get railroaded out of a job. You know what I mean? But let me back up a sec. You want to understand how a kid from Harlem with his nose pressed against a library window ends up at 35,000 feet, wearing captain's wings, and then damn near loses it all because of one white woman's grudge? Here's how it goes. When I was 8, I used to haunt that dusty library down the street from our place. There was this old white librarian, MS. Hanley looked at me like I was in the wrong section every time. One day, she told me straight up, "Marcus, those pilots in the books, they don't look like you. Maybe find something more realistic." I remember clutching that aviation manual so hard my knuckles hurt. I whispered, "One day, planes will have captains who look like me." She didn't hear, but it didn't matter. The seed was planted. Fast forward 30 years. I'm buttoning up my uniform in the Elite Airways locker room, gold stripes, wings shining, everything I'd ever dreamed about, earned with every no, every closed door, every we just don't think you're the right fit. I graduated top of my class, had military hours most couldn't match, but still fifth airline for creative rejections, always something. Elite finally gave me a shot, and I swore I'd give them the best damn pilot they'd ever seen. For 20 years, I was never late, never careless, every metric in the green. I made it to flight 10,000, 10,000 flights, something only a handful ever do. First Officer Ramirez comes in, slaps my back, sharp as ever, "Captain, ready for number 10,000. We laugh, but I can't help noticing no champagne, no announcement, no memo. When Hendricks hit 5,000, they rolled out a cake. Me? Just another day. Different standards, different pilots. But I learned long ago from Captain Reynolds, the first black pilot at Elite, how to play this game. Be twice as good, work twice as hard, complain half as much. So I just kept my head down and did my job. But on the day that should have been a celebration, I saw her face, Veronica Miller. 25 years as a flight attendant, and the only person at Elite who'd ever filed formal complaints against me. Always about unprofessional communication when I called her out for skipping safety steps. Dismissed every time, but she kept coming. I greeted her, professional as ever. Ramirez just gave me that look everyone knew her rep, especially if you weren't white. The pre-flight briefing? Tense, but I kept it moving. Announced to passengers like always, set the tone. Ran through the weather, looked like Phoenix would be rough. Veronica strutted in mid-checklist, all icy smiles, letting me know we had a VIP on board, some regional VP in first class. "You sure we're not making this weather stuff up?" "Captain," she said, already starting in. "Our VIPs expect an on-time arrival." I kept my voice cool, explained the delay was in Phoenix, not Chicago, and we do everything by the book. She left with a smirk. Ramirez just shook his head. The flight went just like I predicted. Holding pattern over Phoenix, turbulence, wind shear, rough landing conditions. But let me tell you, 30,000 hours in a cockpit, I've landed in worse. I greased it right down the center line. Ramirez even nodded, smooth as silk. "Captain." I thought, hell, that's number 10,000. Let him try to take that from me. Except as I'm filling out my logbook, I hear Veronica telling the exec into a sorry for the unnecessary delay. If Captain Stevens had been flying, we'd have been on time. She knew exactly what she was doing. Planting seeds. Undermining. The worst part? Nobody called her out. But it wasn't until the next morning, 6:12 a.m., my phone rings, chief pilot's office, that I realized how deep it ran. "Come in at 8. Marcus," Derek Sullivan says, voice cold. Never liked that man got promoted over me with less experience. I show up, get a folder slid across the table. "We receive a complaint about your conduct. Veronica claims I made up weather delays to cover for personal reasons. Says I ignored her warnings about VIP passengers." I tell him flat out, that's false. Everything is documented. Air traffic control, weather reports, flight data, all of it backs me up. Sullivan's face is stone. She's got 3 passenger statements to back her up, including the VP. And just like that, I'm suspended. Badge handed over. Security walks me out in front of everyone. 20 years, gone in 20 minutes. You want to talk about humiliation? My whole life's built on being twice as good. Now, I'm just another headline, captain suspended, under investigation. Would this have happened if I was white? If it was a black flight attendant accusing a white captain? You tell me. Back home, I'm sitting in the car, can't even look Aisha in the eye. How do you explain to your wife, your kid's Jada about to start college, Michael already in university, that everything you worked for could just vanish because someone didn't like the way you did your job? That night, I can't sleep. I dig up every scrap of evidence, weather data, flight recordings, positive passenger feedback, union contacts. Turns out, Veronica has got a Historia pattern of targeting minority crew. Not just me, but others. I talked to Gabrielle Torres, this tough-as-nails attorney. She lays it out, proving racism is hard, even when it's obvious. But she's determined. You didn't just get unlucky, Captain Washington. This is a system. She pulls stats. Minority pilots at Elite get investigated 4 times more, kept on the hook 3 times as long. Only 3 out of 14 ever get cleared. Then we get a twist. Tyler Jenkins, a young flight attendant, gives a sworn statement. Veronica used to say, these diversity hires need extra watching, stuff like that. And he overheard her and Sullivan, the chief pilot, chatting like old buddies, talking about protecting Elite's legacy. Coincidence? I don't think so. Torres builds the emails, whistleblower tips, cockpit audio of Veronica calling me a diversity captain. All of it. And just when it feels like we might actually break through, Elite's HR panel tries to brush it off. 3 passengers said you were too cautious. A mess. Miller's record is exemplary. We're still investigating. Never mind the 27 positive passenger cards or the stack of evidence in front of them. Standard play. Drag it out. Hope I settle or give up. Except I'm not wired that way. We take it higher straight to the owner, Thomas Richards. He gets everything. My letter, the whole package. I lay it out. This isn't just my fight. It's about every kid who ever picked up an aviation book and wondered if they get a fair shot. I write, I'm not asking for special treatment, just the same benefit of the doubt my white colleagues get automatically. If Elite Airways values diversity, this demands your personal attention. Days go by. Silence. I start to think maybe the package never made it, or worse, they're feeding it right back to the same management who put me here. Then, out of nowhere, I get the call. Amanda Reeves, Richards' executive assistant. Mr. Richards wants to meet with you personally this afternoon. My heart is pounding out of my chest. Jade is sitting at the table, asking, Dad, who was that? The owner's office, I say. She grins. It's your time, Dad. Meeting Richards is like stepping into a different universe. The man's old school, sharp as a razor. He tells me straight up, I had my team look into this, Captain. The pattern is clear. The system failed you. He's got the numbers. Minority pilots punished more, promoted less, complaints ignored or fast-tracked, depending on who's accused. But then, the real bombshell. His own daughter is a black female captain at another airline. She went through the same crap. That hit different, you know? He brings in HR, Sullivan, and Veronica. Reads them the riot act, right there. Fires Veronica on the spot, reassigns Sullivan, puts HR on notice to overhaul their whole system, tells me, you're reinstated, full back pay. And I want you as Director of Pilot Development and Diversity, reporting to me. I can barely speak. 20 years of fighting just to be allowed in the room, and suddenly, I'm at the table. And just like that, justice. But not just for me. We launched the Aviation Equity Initiative. Anonymous reviews, fair promotions, real oversight. 6 months later, I'm back in the left seat, leading Elite's first officially recognized all-minority command crew. Richards himself comes on board before takeoff, shakes my hand, tells the whole crew, this is the Elite Airways I'm meant to build. That day, I look out and see my family on the observation deck. Aisha, Jada, Michael. We weathered the storm, and now we get to fly again together. But it isn't all happy endings. Veronica pleads guilty to workplace harassment, gets community service and bias training. Whistleblowers like Tyler Jenkins get recognition, not retaliation. Our reforms ripple across the industry other airlines call, wanting to follow our lead. Pilot satisfaction, diversity, safety all up. But the real win? The kids in my mentorship program, little black and brown kids, girls and boys walking on a plane for the first time, seeing a captain who looks like them, knowing it's possible. Look, the fight isn't over. There are still folks who think diversity means lowering standards, who see equity as a threat. But not here. Not anymore. Richard stands at the front of the company, makes it clear, if you can't get behind real fairness, there's the door. I look at the plaque on my office wall, Captain Reynolds' old motto: be twice as good, work twice as hard, complain half as much. And underneath, I add my own. And when the time comes, speak truth to power, so the next generation doesn't have to be twice as good just to get a fair shot. So, have you ever watched someone stand up to injustice and actually change the system? I want to hear your stories in the comments. Feel like if you think this is what justice looks like. Subscribe if you want to see more stories about people fighting back. And if you know someone who needs to hear this, share it. Because real change, it takes all of us. And sometimes, the only way forward is to take the controls and fly through the storm no matter what they say you can or can't do. Yeah, that's my story. And I'm still writing the next chapter.